This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good morning, Naomi Mellor. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful morning?
I am great. Thank you, Angel. How are you?
I am excellent. It's a great pleasure to connect with you. Time to smash the ceiling, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That is the name of my podcast and the brand that we have associated with that helps to connect women who have inspiring and unusual careers and to get other women on board to give them some inspiration for their own job and their own life as well. So I'm really pleased to talk to you today, Angel, and thank you so much for the invitation.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm excited as well. I got to listen to the podcast and it was pretty intriguing. Your interviewing style was very good. I was very much impressed by how smoothly you were running through those questions and how comfortable the guests felt.
That's very kind of you, Angel. Thank you. I like to try and make people feel relaxed, and I love to meet people. It's one of my favorite things in life is to meet other people and to get to know people. And I really love that people can come on the show and hopefully feel relaxed and that they can just have a chat with me rather than it feeling like a forced interview. A bit like you, really. You're a great guy at kind of getting your guests relaxed and getting people to talk.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Now, what part of the world are you in?
I am in England, very cold, wintry England at the moment. We had our first snow of the season yesterday. And yes, it's very chilly at the moment.
Well, who did you learn, if I could guess, right, the ability to be kind from?
Oh, I would say I'm very influenced by my parents and particularly my grandmother as well. She's still alive and she is 102.
Wow.
She has been a massive influence on my life. She cared for us a lot when I was growing up, and she is quite an incredible woman. She has always worked full time, even in an era when women mostly gave up their jobs. And she was a teacher for such a long time, like more than 40 years. And she is just... her kindness towards children in particular is amazing. And even now, she unfortunately does have some degree of dementia, but she still will light up when she sees a child. And her influence on me as I was growing up has been absolutely enormous. She's an incredible woman who I just have so much respect for. And she has always just said to me, always be kind. Her two pieces of advice are always be humble and always be kind. And the best piece of advice that she has always imbued to me is you are better than nobody and nobody is better than you. And I think that's what I try to carry with me in my life.
That's beautiful. Why will you continue to be that person? Of course, it comes with the challenges, right? Being the person that is kind. There are challenges, I'm sure. I've felt it, where sometimes you're hurt. But why will you continue to be that person?
Well, I get a lot of joy out of serving other people. I think I said to you before, my trade is as a veterinarian. So I spend my life with people and their animals. And, lots of my clients will have such a deep-rooted relationship with their pet. And I specialize in horses, and people can often have had their horse for 20 or 25 years. And it sounds a bit trite to say it, that it's part of my job, but it's actually one of the parts of my job that gives me a lot of pleasure is being kind to people and being able to show a degree of compassion in my work. And it's one thing that I really enjoy. And, being of service to other people, either at work or through the podcast, I set up Smashing the Ceiling to have women to help other women. I have this big belief that women should support other women in the workplace and in business and throughout their careers. And I just want to provide something for other people to dig into on that front, really.
Love it. Well, tell me, my friend, one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
Oh, I had to have a little think about this one, Angel, actually, because I've had a lot of changes in my life professionally. My husband and I have relocated a couple of times, but the one thing that is a big constant in my life is my passion for running. And no matter where I am in the world, I love to run. I'm just about to do my first ultra marathon in a couple of months' time, which is a big deal for 2019. And that has been a major goal of mine for the past kind of 6 months. But I love the feeling that running gives me. It's a big time when I decompress my mental headspace and I have time to think, and I have time to kind of mull over what's going on in my life. And I just love the feeling of that. You know, I love to be outdoors with my job anyway, and I'm very fortunate that I get to work outside and be in the fresh air. And I really enjoy the outdoors. So I just love to kind of lace up my trainers and go out for a run on the trails or in the woods or wherever it may be. And I also love that when I go to any other city. You know, I was just fortunate to go to Copenhagen before Christmas and went running around there, and I find it a really good way to explore new places as well. I find that quite exciting.
Suggest to someone that's listening why they should do what you've done by creating that space in your life where you can actually experience that type of rest and rejuvenation, if you would, through exercising.
Well, I just think that life is very busy these days. You know, lots of people whoever you are, have busy jobs and they have busy lives. People often have kids and families, and there's a lot of pressure on people's time. And for me, running gives me, even if it's just half an hour some days, it's just the time for me to just consider things in my life. And you know, running is hard if you don't do it. You know, I always find that when I've had a break from running, the first run is always the hardest. And particularly here, you know, the weather conditions in the UK, as I'm sure many people will know, are not always that great, I think we could say. You know, it rains quite a lot. It's not that hot. And particularly in the winter, I really have to make myself go sometimes. But I do love that sort of feeling of the endorphin release that you get from exercise. And for me, it is one of the best forms of therapy that I could have.
Love it. Amazing audience. Again, you're hearing it live from Naomi Mellor, or Mellor, or however you pronounce it in your particular accent, right? Well, Naomi, let's switch gears for a moment. Let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Naomi,
Oh my gosh, good.
what is your earliest childhood memory?
So one of my earliest childhood memories, Angel, is learning to ride a bike with my dad. And I was super fortunate to have wonderful parents when I was growing up, and I still do. And I think I was about 3. And my mom always tells me that my favorite phrase when I was little, which I think I'm still probably trotting out quite regularly, is "I can do it." So I used to just be there on my little bike and I was going, "Daddy, I can do it." And I can just remember him releasing me for the first time without my stabilizers on a full-on bike and riding around my garden with my mom and my dad and my brother. And that's, I think, is one of my earliest memories, to be honest. But it's that feeling of succeeding at things, I think, is one that I try to keep with me. You know, you have to be brave and step outside your comfort zone, don't you, to get things done in life. And I think as a child, I was probably quite gung-ho maybe about stuff like that. So I just try and keep that, you know, I think "I can do it" is probably a bit childish, but is something that I do quite keep with myself, you know, trying to push myself the whole time to go further with my career and my life, and, you know, just pushing on forwards.
Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind with that memory?
Of course, Angel, I'd love to hear it.
Here we go. So I love like when I'm doing these conversations, I usually connect on LinkedIn, and I have your page up on LinkedIn. It's like a guest ID, if you would. So I'm seeing your picture, and then there's information there, right? So that helps, right? But it's really cool that you're standing there and the horse is there, and your hands seem to be just under the front of the mouth right there by the horse. But what's really cool is the value of teaching through kindness. I think we've definitely built on the theme kindness from the beginning of this conversation, from your grandmother's kindness, and now you sharing with your father, mother, and did you say your brother was there as well?
Yeah, he would have been definitely.
Wonderful. It's amazing to
Yeah,
see how it is possible to teach
yeah,
well with kindness. You know, it seems to be a seed that is planted that creates so much more flowers, if you would, for others to be able to enjoy. So to see the way you are
absolutely.
serving and the person you are and the joy it's brought to your heart by that seed of kindness within your family and allowing you to go forth in that safety net, if you would. It's just beautiful to see that entire theme just built.
It is. And actually just kind of extending what you were saying about the natural world there and seeds and flowers. But I think when you work with animals, and particularly big animals like horses, lots of people are nervous of them because they are big, and if you don't have a background working with them, then I think to a lot of people they would seem quite intimidating. I work with racehorses particularly, and often people would see them as being quite fractious or quite difficult, but actually it's one of the things that I like about my job is that animals are just innately kind, and particularly a flight animal like a horse, if you gain their trust, then you'll have a relationship or a bond with that animal, and I think kindness has to be at the root of that in terms of how you treat animals and people in life. And it is one of the things that I really enjoy about my job, actually, that the animals they're just great, they're hilarious, they're they're really fun, and overall, they 99% of them are just very kind to you, which means you have to be kind to them back.
Yeah, I really love the concept. The concept of smashing the ceiling goes with, the Thor finish, right? Like the huge hammer, and I'm like smashing the ceiling. But just to see it being done through kindness, it's a really nice play on the experience. So really love that.
Thanks, Angel.
Yeah. Inspiring woman with unusual careers, smashing the ceiling. All right. So if we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
Oh, well, this was quite an easy one for me, actually, because one of the albums that has been a soundtrack to my life at many points has been Rumours by Fleetwood Mac. And my parents really love Fleetwood Mac. And then at a later job I had, I did a job where we used to do a lot of nighttime surgeries, and we only had one CD in the operating theatre. So if someone forgot their iPhone and we had no music to stream, we had one CD to listen to, which was Fleetwood Mac. So it's an album that I know very well because I've listened to it a lot. And I think I would probably pick The Chain from there.
Love it. All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there is a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more.
Oh my goodness.
We're going to move quickly. Yeah, you ready?
I'm ready.
Naomi, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes.
Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have children?
No.
Do you believe in God?
I think so.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
Oh my goodness, no.
How about 3 hours a week?
Infrequently.
All right. What about screen time? The phone and the computer. Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Less than 8 hours a day, but it's something I'm trying to be very disciplined about, compartmentalizing that, because I think it can very quickly encroach onto the rest of your life. So I'm trying to be a bit more disciplined about screen time in 2019.
Naomi, if you had to share with us, yeah, I feel the feeling. Yes, I understand. If you had to share with us your own unique, real statement, a statement that represents who you are, Naomi Mellor, what would you say that is?
Oh, I'd stick with my 3-year-old self, I think, Angel, and I'll carry on with I can do it.
Love it. Yes, you can. Naomi, I love this conversation. This was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
No, Angel, just to say, if people want to listen to my podcast, you can find us on Apple or any of the other podcast providers. Just look for Smashing the Ceiling and you will find us there.
Love it, Naomi Mellor. Thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you, Angel. It's been such a pleasure.
You're welcome.
This segment has been brought to you by Amazel Enterprise.